stay connected with the world through WION. Like the page on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter for new alerts. Instagram for videos and images. And the website for the latest news, views and analysis. WIONews.com. World is one.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at WION.com.
After the collapse of the curse.
Hello and a warm welcome to WION World is One, broadcasting live from London this hour. You're with me, Katie Pilbeam. Let's get to the headlines. French ministers hold crisis meeting on riots ahead of an emergency meeting for which President Emmanuel Macron is rushing back from a Brussels EU summit. A Nike store is looted in central Paris during the most destructive night of rioting yet, in protest at the fatal shooting of a teenager by police. There will be a major expansion in training places for health staff in England under a historic 15-year plan to fill NHS staffing shortages. The UK government will challenge a court ruling that blocks its plan to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda, a setback to its controversial bid to cut migrant numbers. Poland, backed by Hungary, stages a revolt against European Union migration reforms, leading to deadlock that on Friday stretched into a second day at the bloc summit. IPL franchise Rajasthan Royals are set to offer a lucrative multi-year contract to England's limited overs captain Jos Buttler. There is no official word though on Butler's stance on this matter as yet. And we start with Paris today. The city is burning for the third night running. Pitch battles fought in the suburbs of Paris. But even as riots broke out, French President Emmanuel Macron has been missing in action. He was spotted grooving to a selection of Elton John hits. Well, he may have been swaying to Candle in the Wind, but these pictures of Macron at the Accor Arena could add further fuel to the flames of unrest licking away at the heart of the French Republic. His political opponents have been quick to pounce, and these pictures draw immediate parallel with the decadent Roman Emperor Nero, who reportedly played the fiddle when Rome was burning in 64 AD. Macron is now trying to reformulate a plan to contain the chaos, as he will be holding a new crisis meeting today. For this, he will have to cut short a trip to Brussels, where he is attending a European Union summit. On Thursday, Macron had convened a similar meeting, after which he had appealed public to maintain calm. But the appeal proved out to be ineffective, as riots were witnessed in major French cities. The number of police personnel deployed has now been increased to 40,000. This is 4 times the number deployed on Wednesday. French authorities expect the situation to get worse in the coming days. According to reports, 249 police officers have been injured in the violence that took place overnight. Meanwhile, in the town of Tanner, where a 17-year-old was killed, a vigil was called by his mother. A large number of protesters joined the march.
I trust the police for many things, but there's an increase in the number of deaths for no good reason. And that shouldn't happen. We deserve to be safe in our country. We pay our taxes. We have a right to be here.
Of course, I'm scared for my 4 boys. I'm afraid of what might come next. I would like it to stop and that it never happens again. It's just not possible to die like this for no reason. I wouldn't want it to happen to my own children. My eldest is 11. It could be him 5 years from now, dying from a gun wound. It's impossible. This needs to stop.
Well, things took an ugly turn after protesters set cars on fire and threw fireworks on police. In Marseille, which is France's second largest city, police fired tear gas grenades during clashes with the youth. Until now, nearly 700 people have been arrested for participating in the violence, according to the country's interior minister. Well, a night curfew has been imposed until Monday in the area of Camargue. The police official accused of killing the teenager apologised to the teen's family. His lawyer said that the officer was devastated by the scale of violence and never intended to kill the teenager. Well, the officer has been charged with voluntary homicide. The teen's mother claims the murder is racially motivated. She said that the accused official had other ways to control her son, but he still decided to shoot him after he failed to comply with his order to stop the car. The row over the Rwanda asylum policy is not over in the United Kingdom after a London court appealed to describe the plan as unlawful. That was the decision. Now, the UK government has insisted that it will fight to overturn this ruling that happened yesterday. Now, after the ruling, the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak quickly announced a plan to appeal at the Supreme Court against this decision. The UK Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, has described the ruling as a big disappointment, while adding that she and Sunak will do everything possible to stop the illegal migrants coming into the UK on small boats.
Well, the system is rigged against the British people. It's as simple as that. That's why we're changing the laws through our illegal migration bill. That's why we are rolling out a groundbreaking partnership with Rwanda, which we believe is lawful, with a country that we believe is safe. So we need to change the system. We need to change our laws. That's how we're going to stop the boats.
According to Number 10 sources, the lawyers representing the government are well prepared on the case in the Supreme Court. They're prepared ahead of it. Yesterday, 2 of the 3 judges have ruled that Rwanda is not a safe third world country. The court agreed that the UK government could not guarantee that asylum seekers sent to Rwanda would not be deported to the country from which they were fleeing, adding that sent anywhere to Rwanda would constitute a breach of Article 3 of the European Convention on Human Rights. Well, the ruling comes as a major setback for the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, who had made it one of his major priorities. The illegal migration bill is currently passing through the Parliament. The bill states anyone coming to the UK through illegal means could be forcibly removed to Rwanda. UK opposition party Labour claims the Rwanda plan is unworkable, unethical and extortionate. The appeals court also heard from UN Refugee Agency. The UNHCR said Rwanda has a record of human rights abuses towards refugees within its borders, while adding that the UK Home Secretary would not be able to guarantee the safety of asylum seekers in Rwanda. For more details, our London correspondent Alex Isaac is joining us from the capital. Alex, good to see you again. A huge disappointment for the government, but it's not going to stop here, is it? They are determined to get this bill through one way or another.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, they are going to take this appeal to the Supreme Court, as you've mentioned. Now, the interesting part of this is all that it's still coming down to the priorities that Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister, had put in place and said about those 5 priorities, but actually also that the government has already paid over £160 million to Rwanda to set this scheme going. So the taxpayers' money is already into this scheme, and that's one of the reasons behind this is one of the reasons why Rishi Sunak is so forthright in pushing forward, because that is a lot of money that's already been spent on this great plan, and there was already meant to be at least 250 people per month heading over to Rwanda up until towards December. And of course, there's been many barriers that have stopped this happening, and this is yet another one. And we have heard this before. There has been a lot of people that have stopped other appeals. There's been the plane that got stopped when that was trying to deport one person back last year. So there is a lot of under work as well to try and make this plan viable going forward, because for the UK public it does feel that this especially the illegal migration, the asylum seekers that are coming through on boats, is a real big issue. So no matter that the opposition is saying that this particularly is untenable, that the Rwanda plan should be disregarded, that immigration bill that Suella Braverman has been talking about, that's still going through the House of Lords and will have to go through the House of Commons, is something that the UK public is looking to figure out and see how it can actually help them. It's one of the major reasons that Brexit as well happened, immigration in general. People here are really keen to have British jobs for British people. That is one of the big pushes that happened during Brexit, and they are looking to see that come to fruition, and it has unfortunately not happened for many. So even though Labour has just said that it's all about this human rights issues, they're not really gathering much support when it comes to immigration on that side. And Rishi Sunak as well, trying to suggest that he's going to stop boats coming over. Well, they're still coming, and there doesn't seem to be a reason. We keep giving money. We've given money to Rwanda. We've given money to France. We've given money to the EU. And now we're talking about the human rights and potentially getting rid of some of those European Court of Human Rights rules that are on us, which is sadly going to open up a whole other Pandora's box of problems. Right now, they are very focused on the Rwanda plan because there's so much money that's been put into it. But they do really need to tackle the absolute problems of why people are coming over here illegally. Why are they having their own lives? Is it because they need to come out of their own country and therefore we need to seek some safer routes for them? Or are they coming over for financial gains? Those are the two issues that keep circling around each other, and those answers haven't really been said, or either Labour opposition, other oppositions as well, have given advice about what they would do if they were in the same situation. It does feel right now that we are constantly treading water on this particular point.
Yeah, we really are. And you're right to say as well, we've got to target the problem as well, the gangs where these they're organising these people to come over and paying extortionate amount for these tickets to get on these boats and come over illegally. It's difficult to ascertain how popular this policy is of the Conservatives. I was watching Question Time last night. It's a huge political programme here in the UK, Alex, you know that. And Fiona Bruce, she asked the audience, it was a Conservative, mainly Conservative audience, and she asked them who supported the Rwanda policy, and nobody put up their hand. I don't know if it's because they didn't want to admit that they support the policy or whether they really didn't support it. But I thought that was quite interesting. You picked up on the fact that we don't quite know what Labour would do as well. They've said they don't agree with this policy, but what would they do? There's now less than 2 years that the Conservatives have got before the next election to be able to get this through. Are they going to have time, Alex?
Oh, that's an interesting question. There doesn't seem to be any forward momentum since Rishi Sunak made his promises, and he was meant to suggest that these boats would be coming down by December, and that hasn't stopped either yet. As I mentioned earlier, we've given money out to various countries to help us with this problem, but we haven't seemed to figure out what exactly the problem is. You know, it's really interesting you're saying about with Question Time as well, because it does feel like a lot of the people that are really contesting this plan are a certain age, but when you ask people in the street, you know, they're not the ones going to Question Time, but they are the ones that are frustrated and fed up, but they are also the same ones that, you know, think that we should be sending people away rather than individually looking at why they're coming over. And I think that is really the major issue. It does feel that a lot of people are just seeing negative stories after negative stories, but there are many people that have come and settled in the UK that have been refugees and have sadly come illegally with their own lives on the line, crossing the channel because they really need to, and they couldn't find a safe passage out quicker. So there are two sides of every story, but whether or not we can stop those boats, it does feel like a lot of that is due to these financial issues with gangs making a lot of money, especially from, you know, we're talking about Slavic regions and the Balkan regions, which we keep hearing with regards to. But can this be fixed before the next general election? We don't know. The immigration bill is still going through right now. This was also promised when Priti Patel was Home Secretary. Nothing really happened there. Now we've got Suella Braverman, who is fighting this rhetoric, and not very much seems to be moving forward. But it does seem to be one of those points that both parties will really need to fight for the general election. That will need to be one of their top priorities. Whether it can be done before that, well, wait and see, really.
Yeah, quite right. Such a divisive topic here in the UK. Thank you so very much, Alex Isaac, our London correspondent for us here. The UK government has come up with a new plan to end the NHS crisis. Now in England, thousands more doctors and nurses will be trained to end the huge gap in the workforce. Well, according to reports, the places in medical schools will rise from 7,500 to 10,000 by 2028. And this can reach the target of 15,000 by 2031 after the NHS first long-term workforce plan. Now, the training positions for nurses will also increase to 40,000 by 2028. If this number is achieved, it will recover the current lack in the National Health Service. Well, the Chief Executive of NHS England, Amanda Pritchard, has hailed the long-awaited government plan. She also described the plan as once-in-a-generation opportunity to end the staffing crisis. Well, later today, Rishi Sunak, along with Pritchard, will give more details about the increase in NHS staffing. The plan, it comes ahead of NHS celebrating its 75th anniversary. In the next 5 years, the NHS will receive £2.4 billion in extra funding over the next 5 years. The extra funding will help pay for the planned increase in health professionals. The Labour Party has accused the Tory government of stealing their idea for helping the NHS, while adding the government should have implemented the plan years ago. According to official NHS figures, the number of vacancies in this service in England have almost quadrupled. Several critics said action on NHS understaffing is required now, and added that such plans should have been introduced a decade ago.
Fetching hairnets that we...
Prince Harry and his wife Meghan Markle have officially vacated Frogmore Cottage. The property was a gift to the couple from the late Queen Elizabeth II. Buckingham Palace has released their annual financial report, and according to which the couple has recently removed their belongings. They were using the house for their trips in the UK since their exit in 2020. Or earlier, they spent a huge amount on the renovation the pair did. The Buckingham Palace claims the royal couple has received the sovereign grant of £2.4 million for the renovations. Well, the house belongs, it's listed as a property of the Crown Estate. But after their marriage, Queen Elizabeth gave the couple a long-term lease on the property. According to reports, the excavation began after the release of Harry's memoir Spare. Well, until now, it's not clear who will get Frogmore Cottage. Reports suggest that King Charles wanted Prince Andrew to move into the cottage. Well, in the land of tea and rainy days, there's a storm brewing for UK consumers. Water bills have been surging at an alarming rate, leaving many households feeling drenched in financial stress. Well, according to the UK's Office of National Statistics, water bills have increased at almost double the pace of other goods since the industry was privatised in 1989. Well, since privatisation, bills have skyrocketed by a staggering 300%, hitting wallets harder than a sudden downpour in London. Well, for many families in the UK, this surge in water costs comes at a time when they're already struggling with rising food prices and housing expenses. In April, charges saw the steepest increase in 18 years, with an 8.9% jump, making things worse. But the wave of worries doesn't end there. Troubles have also hit the water service providers, with even the biggest supplier, Thames Water, drowning in a whopping $15 billion debt. As consumers grapple with mounting bills, there's a growing chorus of voices calling for change. In fact, a recent poll revealed that a majority of Britons, almost 70%, believe water companies should be nationalised and run in the public sector. Consumers complain of leaking pipes and sewage woes that lay bare the consequences of the UK's neglected infrastructure. Marvel fans no longer need portal-generating watches to travel to other dimensions. The studio has confirmed that multiple cuts of Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse exists out there. So fans of the Spider-Verse franchise were quick to suspect that there were multiple versions of the recently released film. But why were they Spidey senses tingling? Well, the truth was revealed when a Twitter user posted different cuts of the same scene from across the Spider-Verse. In one video, Spider-Man's assistant, Layla, ends a line pointing to Miguel. However, in the second version, she snaps a selfie, so teeny tiny differences that were spotted here. Now, much to the delight of fans, Andrew Leviton, an editor on Across the Spider-Verse, confirmed that the speculation was actually true. At least 2 versions of the film have been released until now. An updated version on the film was sent to theatres after receiving complaints that the opening scene audio was too low. But it's unclear if that is why there are different cuts of the same movie or not. The club versus country debate in cricket is intensifying, with cash-rich T20 franchise leagues providing lucrative alternatives. IPL side Rajasthan Royals are attempting to tie down England's